What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Direct Snap. We're going to go ahead and give you your Week 4 breakdown, all the big games and fun games that happened over this last weekend, and let you know kind of what to think about all of them. First up is a battle of two teams that are not normally ranked, but are having great years so far. Illinois at Nebraska Friday night. Now, this was Nebraska's 400th straight sellout, and they were fighting to beat a streak of 24 consecutive losses to ranked teams. And it looked good for a while. Dylan Raiola had a great game. He threw for 297 and was a lot of fun to watch. But in the end, Nebraska couldn't beat that streak. They've now lost 25 straight to ranked opponents, losing 31-24 in overtime.
Yeah, I really like Nebraska this year. I think they're a pretty good team. Dylan Raiola is a really good quarterback, and he's only a freshman, so he's got a ton of potential. And him acting like Mini Mahomes is pretty funny. But Illinois, it's kind of a surprise this year. I never even looked at Illinois as being ranked or even being 4-0 like they are. But they beat Kansas in week 2, which kind of put everyone on their radar, and then they got it against Nebraska. So now they're a legit, I guess I would say middle of the pack Big Ten contender. I mean, they're not going to be in contention for the championship game, but they're definitely going to go bowling.
I mean, they'll go bowling. But how legit are they actually? Yeah. I mean, they beat Nebraska, 25 straight ranked losses. They beat Kansas, who's like 1-3 right now.
Well, Kansas' quarterback was supposed to be legit, and I don't know if he played that game.
He did.
But he did.
Yeah, he's played every game so far.
Okay.
And I mean, that'll carry us into the next game we're going to talk about, which was Kansas at West Virginia. I think it was at West Virginia. But it was Kansas, West Virginia, and Kansas was expected to be good this year. I mean, I don't know what's going on with them. Their quarterback, Jalen Daniels, has just been turning the ball over a lot. And Kansas ended up losing that game 32-28. And they're just off to a rough start. This is a team a lot of people were picking to contend in the Big 12 and to be a dark horse.
Yeah, the Big 12 race, preseason was so crowded, but it's really starting to thin out because Jalen Daniels, in the preseason, he was one of the Heisman favorites, even out of Kansas. I wouldn't say he wasn't the top, but he was up there because he shows a lot of promise. And last year, he just had a ton of injuries that really held him back. He only played like half of the games, if even. Yeah. But it's definitely a tough loss. But obviously, West Virginia is a hard place to play. But that's just it's a big disappointment this year with Jaden Daniels not performing to expectation.
Yeah, and two other games this last weekend that really show you a lot about the Big 12 is you had Utah at Oklahoma State. And Utah went into Stillwater, which is a tough place to play. And it was a close game score-wise, but Utah really just dominated that game from start to finish with their backup quarterback.
Yep.
And that's something really impressive right there. Those were the two top contenders for the conference. And I think Utah is really just separating themselves from everyone else.
Mm-hmm. I think last time we talked about this matchup that was coming up, we said the winner would probably be in the championship game, if not the winner of the Big 12. And Utah getting it done the way they did, the score is 22-19, but it really wasn't that close. There was a comeback late, but before that, Utah was really owning this game. And Bowman really kind of struggled. I didn't watch the whole game, but he did get pulled for I think a couple series. From the fans I've talked to that are OSU fans, they think he got pulled and was kept out too long. And he maybe should have put him in a little sooner, but I don't know if that would have changed anything to the outcome of this. Utah's a great team, and Whittingham, I really like Whittingham. He's a great coach.
Yeah, and then the other game was K-State at BYU late Saturday night. And K-State, that's one of those teams that a lot of people were picking them to compete and maybe even win the Big 12 this year.
Yep.
And man, did they get smoked the other night. They ended up losing the game 38-9 to BYU. And that's a tough place to play. But to compete for the Big 12, you just don't want to see a team get blown out the way that they did.
Yeah, they're definitely like the top three. It's kind of Utah, OSU, and K-State. And now after getting destroyed by BYU, it's like, whoa, it kind of switches up this whole entire landscape.
Yeah.
But BYU at night has always kind of been a scary place to play for a lot of teams. Yeah. And OSU has that coming up too in a couple weeks. They're also going to be BYU at home on Friday night, so that'll be interesting.
And hey, getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, this next week is OSU at K-State.
Yep.
Those 2 and 3 teams that were expected to compete for the Big 12. The loser of that game is pretty much eliminated from the Big 12 championship and almost certainly eliminated from the playoff.
Yeah, there definitely would be hurting. A lot more chaos would have to happen in the Big 12 for that to go down. Because really, because you also have UCF.
They're playing great now.
They're playing really well. And so, yeah, I think they definitely go into the mix. And if they can hold their own, they play who's UCF play?
They play Colorado.
Yeah, that's right. They play Colorado this week, so I think they'll get it done pretty easily. It's a 2 touchdowns favorite, so that's kind of shocking. But so yeah, UCF is definitely legit in the Big 12. So yeah, for sure.
Yep. And then next up was game of the week, College Game Day, Tennessee at Oklahoma. And man, did this game not disappoint? There were fireworks in it all throughout. It was a rough day for a lot of Sooner fans, but there's also a lot to be happy about in this game. You had arguably the best offense in all of college football with Tennessee going against what looked like arguably the best defense in all of college football at Oklahoma.
Yeah, it was. I was actually at the game, so that's why my voice is a little gone right now. But it was definitely an exciting game. Obviously, as an OU fan, it's kind of disappointing. But from an outside point of view, from just a college football fan, it was a great game to watch. I mean, there was 6 turnovers in total or 5 turnovers.
5 turnovers.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was back and forth, and it really, in my opinion, it looks kind of open for either team in the first and then sort of second quarter. Because it was such a low-scoring game. So, as the OU fans they're like, oh, only down by 2 touchdowns? That doesn't seem like a lot because we're used to a high-powered offense. But really, with our offense and how messed up it is right now, 2 touchdowns is quite a bit of a deficit.
Yeah, and the real difference going all throughout that game was the first half, Jackson Arnold for Oklahoma, he just wasn't getting the job done. He had 3 turnovers, 1 fumble on the 5-yard line, 1 really bad interception, and then he had a backwards pass that resulted in a turnover. And they were all 3 turnovers that just can't happen. He ended up getting pulled at halftime for the backup Michael Hawkins. But by that point in time, too much damage was done, and it was just too hard to get back into the game for OU.
Yep. I think they definitely probably hesitated to take Arnold out, and when they did, I feel like that was kind of just too late.
Yeah. But last big game of this last week was USC at Michigan. And Michigan fans wanted to win this game. 2 weeks ago, they got smoked off of their home field by Texas. Mm-hmm. And they wanted a big-time win to make up for it. And boy, did they get one. I've never seen a game quite like it, where you have your starting quarterback throw for 32 yards and still get the win.
Yep. It was definitely a ground-and-pound game. They definitely were... They definitely assumed USC wasn't that improved on defense because if they did that, if this game happened last year, it's a 12-40. Honestly, point. I mean it's a massive difference. But USC definitely improved on the defense a lot. What Lincoln Riley said in the preseason was true, and a lot of people didn't think it was true. But he definitely said he switched his whole mindset, and he was going to focus on defense. And so it definitely showed. And a lot of people are counting USC out, and I don't think there's any reason to be counting them out because the only reason that it's not the different outcome is because of 1 fourth down play. One play changed the difference in these games, and because of that, people completely switch their mindsets on teams. They had a good game. USC definitely played good. And going into Michigan, also Michigan lost last time at home. It's hard for a team like Michigan to lose twice at home. It's just a big blue blood program. So, yeah, it was a really good game.
I myself was not a believer in USC going into this game. I picked Michigan to win by double digits. I thought that they were going to run the ball straight through them. And, Michigan did run the ball a lot. Mm-hmm. It did go similar to how I thought the game would go. But USC also made a believer out of me. They have a respectable defense. They still have the greatest offensive mind in all of college football with Lincoln Riley. This is a team that's going to go win some games this year. Yep. And they've still got everything that they want to accomplish this season ahead of them. 1 loss isn't going to end the season.
No, for sure, especially with the 12-team playoff.
Exactly.
And the AP poll released, just a few quick things. Nebraska and Northern Illinois, both with 2 losses, so both with a loss this week, so they're out of their rankings. And Kansas State's still holding on at number 23. Texas A&M went up a little bit, so 24. Boise State got ranked, and BYU got ranked. Both had pretty good wins. So nothing else from the top has really changed. Tennessee went up 1, passing Ole Miss just because of their win in Norman.
Which all of those top 7 teams, they're all top 6, not really Missouri. Yep. They're all really good, and there's not a whole lot separating any one of them.
Yeah, the point spread, you know, from like 1 to 7, you know, wouldn't be that much if they played right now. But yeah, in the middle, Michigan went up 6, kind of jumped back up to where they were preseason because, you know, it was a pretty good win. They passed USC in the rankings. And then Louisville jumped up 4. Everyone else kind of just went up after having OSU and Oklahoma both catching a loss. So
yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching. If you haven't already, please hit the like and subscribe button. It really means a lot to us. If you have any questions or want to say anything, drop them down in the comments.
Bye.
Bye.